G'day YouTube, this is Sean and I'm here to show you a little bit about Word 2010. Now Word 2010 is, well obviously it's been around for at least 3 years now since we are into 2013, but a lot of people have this program and don't know all of the ins and outs of it. Now there's a lot of stuff in this. There's a lot of things for doing professional presentations, professional documents, that kind of thing. So there's a lot in here that you won't need. However, if you get into it, you're thinking, I'm going to write a letter to my nephew, my uncle, my aunt, whatever it is that you're going to do. This can be pretty daunting to look at. You see across the top that there are 9 different tabs. On mine there are 9 because I have Adobe Acrobat installed, so I've got this Acrobat tab at the top here. But even just looking at the home part of the ribbon here, there's a lot of information here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain in this particular video what all the different options are on the home screen. Now I'm just going to bring up a quick little document here with some information on it. Maybe nothing important, but you know, we're going to have some text that we can work with and sort of see what all these different options are going to do for us here. Okay, so I've created a document. I just have some random text in there. It doesn't really mean anything. Don't worry about what the words are. I just typed up something that would basically show what we need to look at here. So we're on the home tab of the ribbon. This is what this is called up here. This is called the ribbon. It's the new thing that's been around since Office 2007, I believe. And it just gives us a different way of looking at the menu, different ways of categorizing different functions that you're going to need to use in each of these programs, Word, Excel, Outlook, all that kind of thing. And looks like Adobe updates are ready. That's always interesting to know. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so we have over here cut, copy, and format painter. Now, cut, copy, and of course paste. Cut, copy, and paste, of course, are very easy to use, things that you've probably used in a lot of different programs before. Highlight some text, press cut, it gets rid of it, go somewhere else, let's hit enter, and we'll hit paste, and it's going to paste in what we just cut. Now the other option, of course, is you can select it and hit copy. Let's hit enter again, and we'll hit paste, or the other option, of course, is to hit the control key and then press V for insert, like it says there. Press control V, and there you go. We have a paragraph pasted in, copied and pasted. Now you see this format painter. Now this part is a little bit different. Say you've got some text that you've copied and it looks like this. And then I'm just going to change a little bit of the text here so that it looks a little bit different. Very simply, choose a different font and choose a different size. Alright, so see, that looks a lot different. Now, you're looking at this, you've copied this in from somewhere else, and you're going, whoa, that looks awful. I don't want to have this look like this. I want to have it look like this. Well, what you could do is you could go here, and it'll show you what the font is and the size of the font. So for this particular paragraph here, we have Arial 8.5. That's pretty simple. You could just select all of this, go up here, scroll down till you find Arial, click on it, and then go over here. Now it doesn't have 8.5. What are we going to do? Well, we'll click 8. You can actually, by double clicking in there, type in what you want. And there you go. We now have Arial 8.5. So that was a lot of work to do that, right? You had to actually select all the text, then you had to click here, find Arial, then you had to click on 8 and then add in the 0.5. Wouldn't it be simpler if there was just a single step that you could use to do it? Well, there actually is. So I'm going to go back, reset this to the way it was, into that awful looking text, and then I'm going to just select a little bit of the text here because we know this text is all what we want. I'm going to click on Format Painter. Now what that does is that takes the format of the text that's been highlighted, and it says whatever you highlight next, I'm going to make it that exact same format. It's going to change this into Arial 8.5. Alright, here we go. I'm going to select it. When I have what I want selected, let's say I only want that much done. I let go, and there you go. This is now Arial 8.5, and this is still Adobe Caslon, whatever that was there. Adobe Caslon Pro Bold in 16. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks, so I'm just going to select a little bit again, select Format Painter, and do that, and there we go. Now another thing that you can do with this is, instead of just single clicking on one part, say you've got a bunch of different parts you want to do, but you want to leave some of it. So we're going to do the first line, the third line, and the fourth line with this new. So you don't want to have to go Format Painter, select Format Painter, select Format Painter, select. That's just going to be tiresome. So double click Format Painter, and now it's going to stay until you turn it off. So there's one. I'll do this line, 2, do this line, 3, and now those parts are all exactly as up here, Arial 8.5. I want to do all of it, just select the whole thing, there you go, click it again, Format Painter's off, now you can just go back to what you were doing. So the Format Painter can come in pretty useful. Alright, next part we have here, this is all about your font. See, this is the font section right here. So here's where you select the specific font that you want to use, and depending on your system, you could have hundreds, you could have thousands, you could have all kinds of different fonts in here, and they will look, change the text that you've got into something completely new. Now, of course, you can change this to something else as well. You can change it to 12, 11, 10, whatever you want here. To get a little more information, we'll go into something else in just a moment. Now, one other thing you can do to increase the size just a little bit at a time, you can click this one, Grow Font. And that will make it grow by a point at a time, or each one of these steps as it goes along, 16, 18, 20, like that. And then if that's too big, just hit the Reduce Font over here, or Shrink Font, and that brings it back down, down, down. Alright, and there we have it back to 8, but we want it back to 8.5. So let's, once again, Format Painter, there we go. We now have that back to 8.5. Now this here is going to allow you to change the case of any particular text that you have. Say you've accidentally hit your caps lock and you typed "Hello World." Then you go, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Select "Hello World." You can change it all to lowercase. You can change it all to uppercase. Capitalize each word, or toggle case. Now that'll just, of course, in this case, make it back down to all lowercase, or toggle back to all uppercase. What we really want is sentence case. So that's going to be the first letter is going to be capitalized, the rest will be lowercase. That looks a lot better, and that's a lot easier than having to go through and individually check each word and go, oh no, I accidentally capitalized paragraph. Let's see, paragraph. Well, I left my caps lock on, so that didn't work. Let's try that again. Paragraph. Instead of having to delete it and, just select it, lowercase, there you go. Nice and quick that way. The next part we have over here is to clear all of the formatting that leaves plain text. So basically, here we go. Plain text. Plain text is going to be basically what the default is for your document. The way I have my document set up, Calibri 11 is my default. It's just a font that I particularly like. It looks pleasing to me. You can pick something else. It may be already set by default to something else. This is simply what I have. So now I really don't want it to be like that, so I'm actually going to do the undo of the clear all formatting and put it right back to the way it was here. Alright, now of course, bold, italics, underlines, these are all things that are very common in a lot of words. We want to emphasize the word here. We're going to hit B for bold, or as you see there, it says Control B. So you can actually select something, hit the Control key, press the letter B, boom, there you go, it's bold. Now, interestingly enough, I bolded the word some instead of the word bold, so I undid it, and let's do it again. Bold, italics, we can either hit the I right here to make it italics, or, as it says, Control I. So hold down the Control key, press the letter I, there you go, you've got italics. Very simple. If you also want it to be bold, leave it highlighted, Control B. Now it's bold and italic. See, those are both highlighted in yellow. That shows you that those formatting options are applied to the particular selection that you have right now. Underline has no bold, no italics, no underline, so we're going to click on underline first of all. You see it adds a little line underneath the word. Let's add it bold and italics just to make it super formatting here. Bold, italic, and underlined all at the same time. Now, you can also add strike through. All that does is draw a line through the word that you have. Now that could be good if you're sending text back to somebody, and you're just letting them know that, you know, this is a formatting change. I've crossed out this word. It was unnecessary. That kind of idea. Let's say you're trying to do pi r squared. Well, that doesn't look like r squared, does it? That looks like r2. So that's our next little formatting here. We're going to do superscript. There you go. Now that looks a little bit better. Kind of small, but as you can see, that does say pi r squared. Let's make it a little bigger. All right. So you've added superscript. Let's say you're trying to make the chemical symbol for water, H2O, not 0. Oh, there we go. Well, that's not exactly correct, is it? The 2 is actually supposed to be subscript, which you can see this key right here will change that to subscript. So you select what it is that you want to be subscripted, click the button, and there you go, H2O, chemical symbol for water. Pi r squared, that's your superscript. Now, these last few things here add some special effects. Text effects is this one. This one will highlight specific text using a color that you choose, and this will change the actual font color. So H2O, let's go with some blue for that. So we're going to choose a blue color for the font, and there you go. Up here we've got black, down here we've changed it to blue because we chose that A there, that font color, when we had this selected and made it blue. If you want anything else that's blue, it automatically remembers the last color that you chose. So if you want anything else to be blue, like your pi r squared over here, select it, just hit right there, and it's the same color blue. But if for some reason you want that to be red, just click the little down arrow, find the red you like. Here's a good one right here, nice and bright, and there you go, pi r squared all in red. Now, if you're doing some homework, something that you want to highlight specifically for somebody to look at, you can select a little bit of text, like this particular sentence here. Click up here and choose a highlight color. If you just hover over it, it'll show you what it's going to look like before you actually click the button. You want it to be blue? Ah, it doesn't look too good. Can't really see that. Green, still kind of hard to see. Gray's not too bad, but of course the standard for, you know, those of you who are in school, let's click on yellow. Now text effects is something a little more complex than that. Let's click on that and then click text effects. See what we've got here. There's lots of different options here. Now for the particular text that we have, it's kind of small. So I'm just going to make it a little bigger so that it actually looks a little more interesting when we see what all these different text effects do. So you can see down here, I've got everything highlighted. Here we have a paragraph that simply has a lot of text in it. And I'm going to hover over each of these different styles here. So this one, it says fill, tan, text 2, outline, background 2. Now that seems like a lot of information. Basically, it's just telling us that the inside of the text is going to be a tan color. It's text 2, it's got an outline, and it's got some alternate background to it. You can go through all of these, take a look, and say, hey, that's the one I want right there. No. There we go. A little bit of a gradient to it. That looks kind of interesting. That one's also got a bit of a gradient, kind of neat. This one's got a bit of a drop shadow to it. I like that one, so I'm going to click on that one right there. Now you see, that bit of text has that outline, it has the blue color in the middle, and it's got that drop shadow underneath it. Kind of interesting. So that's the font part of the home. Now, if you want to do something a little more complicated, you can click on this little down arrow here, and that gives you all of the options all in one spot. So you can change your font, You can change the style, italic, bold, bold italic. You can add strike through, double strike through, superscript, subscript. You can make it all small caps. See how it goes? The first letter is capitalized and then the rest is still capitalized but smaller. You can just have it all caps, or you can hide that text. Ooh, where'd it go? Okay, we're going to unhide that text. You got all those different options there. You've got the font color here, which you can change it to whichever you want. Change the underline style. And if you've got an underline, you can change the underline color as well. Now, you notice here, it's not actually changing the text as you make the selections, right? In this case, you're going to do all the different things you want to do. Double strike through, bold, size 12. It's going to show you here what it's going to look like, but it won't show you in the actual document itself. So that's one specific thing to note that's different about using this font dialog box, as they call it, as opposed to the different options that you have here right on the ribbon. Now there's advanced options as well. These things get into more complicated for typesetting and that kind of thing. If you know a lot about this, go ahead and fool around with it when you're just playing with your document. Find out what these things do. But really they're a little bit more advanced and not really necessary if you're just doing homework, a letter, that kind of thing. Alright, so I'm going to click OK with these changes I've made, and you'll see that now those changes come up that I've made. That red underline, the double strike through, the larger, bolder text. Alright, now the next one we've got is the paragraph box. Now this gives you a bunch of different options. You can add bullets. You can add numbered lists, nested numbered lists, or multi-level lists as they're known. You can change the indent of a paragraph, either decrease the indent, so you're going to send it a little farther to the left, or increase the indent by moving it farther to the right. Let me just show you how that works here. Click on this one here. We're going to increase the indent, so that indents the whole paragraph. It's not just the first line, it's the entire paragraph gets indented to that first tab spot. Now you don't want it over there, just click here. That decreases the indent. For numbered lists, let's go with list 1, list 2, and list 3. Alright. Put each of those on their own line. Now we're going to select all of those and make it in bullet form. There you go. Automatically, just like that, you've got a little bullet list. Now, if this particular bullet list doesn't strike your fancy, you can of course list all of the other types that are available. You can have circles, squares. Not sure what you'd call that, but that squiggly symbol. You can have this diamond shape of diamonds, check marks, arrows, and then there's definitions for new bullets and that kind of thing. Let's just go with the standard circle here. Or, bullets isn't really what we want. We want a numbered list, so let's change it to a numbered list. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can do it like this. You want the brackets around the numbers, or you want letters, Roman numerals, that kind of thing. There you go. Or you decide, nope, I want a multi-level list. Okay, so I've got a list. Now I want this one to be the next part in. List 1, part 2. Now I want this one to be the third level in. List 1, part 2, part 3. There we go. So basically what I did there was I hit enter. Now you see it changed it automatically to 3. Well, I don't want that to be number 3. I actually want this to be a sub-list of list 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the tab key, and that automatically makes it the second level and resets this one to 3. So now I can do list 2-2, hit enter, and it thinks I want another dot here, but no, I want to make a sub-level for this one, so I hit tab again, and that's how you get that multi-level list. Now we're just going to select all of these, just go back to this one here, check it, uncheck it, and it comes up as a different style. A's instead of the dots, 1 instead of what we had before. So A lot of different things you can do if you're doing lists, multi-level lists, if you're doing, checklists, that kind of thing. Going camping. Hey, I need this, 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 and this. Or here's my set of instructions. First, mix in the flour. Second, add the egg. That kind of thing. Can come in very handy for a lot of different options. Now these four here, sorry, I almost said three, but those are four. These four here are going to give you different types of text alignment. So you've got left alignment, you've got centered alignment, you've got right alignment, and then you've got full across-the-board justification. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to tell you where the text starts and ends. So for this one, we're going to click here, and you can see it's automatically set to justify. So if you look here, the left, it's all lined up. The right, it's all lined up. Well, that's not how things are usually done in the professional world these days. So let's do an align text left. Now you see it's a little more ragged on the left here. On the right, I'm sorry. So that's all well and good, but what if we want that to be more to the right? It's unusual, not something we're normally going to do, but it is something that is possible. Or, of course, let's center everything, make everything look kind of interesting down the middle there. So I'm going to go back to this one here. This is the one that I prefer myself. Having it justified on both sides is interesting. It does look very neat, very tidy that way, but not something that I'm particularly fond of myself. So that's just my own personal taste. What you do is going to be, of course, up to you. This part here gives you the line and paragraph spacing. So you can click this and it will give you different spacing between the paragraph lines themselves. Okay, so you can do double spacing, 2.5 times spacing, triple spacing. Here you can go into more detailed line spacing options. Change the alignment. The outline level is body text as opposed to, for example, this here, which is a title. This is a title, this is a title, or as they're defined up here, heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. We'll get into that in just a minute. You've got your indents on the left and the right. Special, you can have a first line indent or a hanging indent where you have the first line all the way to the left and then the rest of the lines are indented a little bit. You can show the spacing before the paragraph, say 0, so there's no difference between one paragraph and the next, but you're adding 10.5 points after the end of the paragraph. And the line spacing is going to be single, 1.5, double, at least 10.5 points, exactly 10.5 points, or a multiple of 10.5 points. And then the preview down here will just sort of show you a general look of what you've chosen. So we're going to choose the first line indent. Now it shows you the first line is indented, or the hanging indent. See, it shows you the opposite. Hanging by how much? 1/2 inch? Too much. Let's go with 0.3 of an inch. And we're going to do not quite that much at the end. You see how this has shortened up a bit? Make it 6. There's a bit of a space between the two lines. That looks good to me. Alright, not actually going to do it in this case. Here, you've got shading, so you can color the background behind selected text or paragraph. Alright, let's select this paragraph here. Let's select this. So now you can choose the color of the background to the text, to the entire section of text. So remember over here we had the color of the text. Let's change this text to this really light brown. And then change the background to something darker, like blue. There you go. Makes it completely look different. And then, of course, you can also have some grid lines, a bottom border, top border, left, right, borders around everything, borders around just the outside, just the inside. This is more if you're going to do tables, drawing a table and that kind of thing. But that is there for you to, play with as you like. You want a border around something? There you go. Just created a border around a period. Next part is styles. This is going to show you the different parts that you can, the different ways that you can style the text that you have. So here you can have normal text. This is going to set it back to whatever you've got set as your normal. You can have it with no spacing. You can change it to a heading. Up here I've got this set as a heading 1. This part here is set as heading 2. You can see it's outlined there. And over here the thing number 3 is heading number 3. You can change how you create the styles. It's got a list of the styles which you can go through, decide which ones you want, the colors that you want based on how you want things set up on your computer. Fonts are all listed here as well, and some paragraph spacing options there as well. And finally, the last part of the home, we've got find, replace, and select. Now these are pretty easy. If you want to find any specific text in your entire document, best thing to do, go up to the top, click somewhere in here, and just click this find. Now it's going to bring up this sidebar, this navigation, and let's say we're looking for the word pie. We can't remember where we wrote in pie. Type it in there, and it copies the word pie over here. It also shows you PI in pieces every single time you've typed in the word pieces here. So you've got that as a way of looking through the different ones. You can start with this one. It'll highlight it in a sort of a darker yellow and go down the list like this, and it will show you which one you're actually on at the time. Now replace, kind of the same thing. You can find pie. You want to change it to pie, P-I-E. You can tell it to replace the first one that it finds, replace every one that it finds, or you can go through and find the next one and then just replace that specific one. See, that's the one that's highlighted there. Yeah, let's go ahead and replace that. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we'll do it anyway. Or just replace all, and it's going to find every pie to the end of the document. It only found 2, and it wants to know if we want to go back to the beginning. Say yes, goes to the top, and it makes a total of 7 replacements. And finally, select will give you various different options for selecting. You can select all text in case you want to grab everything, copy it, and paste it into something else. You can select specific objects. They're rectangular regions, like this kind of thing down here. Select all text with similar formatting, or you can choose a selection pane, which gives you shapes on the page that you can select, that kind of thing. So that's it for the home bar of the ribbon. On the next video, we'll get into the insert and we'll see what you can do there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know. Have a great day.